Good day, ladies and gentlemen. I am the Ephemeral One, and welcome to Dark Souls 3. I asked, and you all decided and voted. So, I got at a grand total of 2 votes to 1. We will jump straight into Dark Souls 3 after completing Dark Souls 2. Ladies and gentlemen, this is actually the game of the Souls series it's been the longest since I played. So I'll look forward to getting re-indulged with this game.
Yes, indeed. It is called Lothric, where the transitory lands of the Lords of Cinder converge. In venturing north, the pilgrims discover the truth of the old words. The fire fades, and the lords go without thrones. When the link of fire is threatened, the bell tolls, unearthing the old lords of Cinder from their graves. Aldrich, saint of the deep, Farron's undead legion, the Abyss Watchers. And the reclusive lord of the profaned capital. Yon the giant. Only in truth, the lords will abandon their thrones. And the unkindled will rise. Nameless, accursed undead, unfit even to be cinder. And so it is that ash seeketh embers.
I love all the set dressing they give to these series. Each and every game sets a very different tone. They have similar themes, but each one speaks of a different sort of legacy. Dark Souls 1, you're unknown. It's a world that is a myth driven by your own thoughts. You try your best to try and sort it out. You've just been told you're cursed, you're locked up, and this is your only option. Dark Souls 2, you're told you don't know why you're doing this. You're shown that you are an inconsequential husk, simply dragged to the bottom of the abyss. Crawl your way out, because that's the only thing you can do. And they all the while you are taunted. You don't know why you're doing this. You're going to, though, because your only other option is to go mad. But not here. Here there's very clear stakes. The line of fire has not been linked, and so they're calling back those who did link the fire once more. They're calling everyone back, resurrecting those who lived before, calling even those who weren't fit to link the fire, or more specifically in this case, the one who chose not to link the fire. So, it only makes too much sense that we will be playing the same character. Once again, stripped of dignity, stripped of everything all the power he acquired. Our first chosen undead, Blue. Now aged. We ended him as a knight. Yeah, no, he would remain a knight. An obscure knight of poor renown who collapsed roaming the land, sturdy owing to high vitality and stout armor. Yeah, this is our Dark Souls 1 champion, after all, the chosen undead, who looked at the linking of fire and what it did to Gwyn, and chose a different fate, until fate decided to intervene, laying him low. Life ring. No. We'll get a life ring just because that's the simple, easy one. Face presets. The historic. True blue blood, blue of the eye, and fair hair. Nah. Yep. Dragon Academy. Student. Build. Yeah, burly upper body. Not gonna see too much of it, but age, yeah, mature. Physique. Build detail, base skin color. That's a little better. Face details, just need hair color a little brighter. That's blonde. There we go. There we go, that's a little better. So it's 136, 95, 18. Okay. Beard. Yep. Beard color again. Same thing. Okay. Eyelashes are fine. So then... pupils... color of pupils. Oh, more golden. Yep. Okay. And we're good. He failed to link the fire, and inevitably someone killed him for all the power he'd accrued, leaving him with just the faded remnants of his armor. Thus, in their desperation, unbeknownst to those around, the chosen undead came back as a unbidden and unwanted choice. So, the journey begins again, a journey unto the end. Welcome back, I suppose. I suppose it's a little more dignified than starting in the cell. Though, what is a coffin but a prison of a different kind? Control camera, yep, the usual controls. It's actually been quite a while since I played 3 through, so it might take me a little to getting used to this versus 2. Yeah, the swing speed is a little... The movement and swing speeds are going to take me a little to get used to, especially after how sluggish 2 was. Now, I haven't decided on build or anything yet, if I'm perfectly honest. A sacred chime already. The Ashen Estus Flask, a new addition, and a new welcome one too, as this will allow you to use MP and restore it. As you'll notice, unlike in 2, casters are now far more viable, due to the simple truth that we have... Oh! Yep, fire. Yep. 3 is a much faster game than 2. Like, just flat out, everyone moves and attacks faster. So getting back used to how fast enemies move and attack is going to take me just a little bit. But yeah. The kick is far more reliable in this game. The jump attacks are definitely worth it. L2, your parry, same as it ever was. Guard, L1 up. If you get behind an enemy, critical hit. Same as it ever was. But, let's test out how good I honestly am. Let's see how sluggish I really am. Turn back. Oh, you know we never listened to that. We were the chosen undead after all. Surely we can handle whatever's down here. Things have changed quite a bit. Those crystal lizards we used to attack just for extra resources. They've grown quite a bit in the time we've been away, huh? Yeah. Oh. Alright. Hope you got something more, little lizard. Ow. Well, that hurt. Oh. Yeah, nice big thing is Knight starts with the 100% physical resist shield. Which is amazing. God, I'm already starting to get a feel for it. I've forgotten how good 3 feels. I mean, you pay for that and how fast enemies attack in this game, but... Alright. But you get stamina back so fast. Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. There we go. Yeah, it's coming back to me already. Not perfectly, or else I wouldn't have required to... Oh, I almost forgot to grab the item. Otherwise, I wouldn't have had to use the Estus flask, but... we're getting there. But yeah. As you can tell from my choice of calling this character Blue, as in the character I beat Dark Souls 1 with, a lot of motif about this game is the reusing of old assets, the reusing of ancient things that came before. That is going to be a common motif in this game, and it's one of the reasons I link this game most strongly to Dark Souls 1 in my mind. So, when it comes down to the games, I believe the way a sequel would go is 1 happened first, and eventually down the line, after 2's many kingdoms rise and fall, so much that most people have forgotten, 3 happens. And 3 will bear a sense of finality that will pierce through most of this game. We'll get to there when we get to there, and you'll understand why. But... not bad. But there is a mechanic now in this game that you should be aware of. First off, drinking is so much faster. Okay. Secondarily, even a melee fighter now benefits from having high MP, because you now have heavier strikes that you can use. Yep. That special skills you can use based on your weapon that will come in handy. Now they'll use your magic to do so, but frankly, it's one of those things where it's a welcome change, and it means the MP bar isn't completely useless for a melee fighter. Alright. And trust me, we'll get plenty of work out of our MP. But for now, let's talk about the area we're beginning in. Simply put, it's a graveyard. And it's a graveyard among mountains, high up. Almost as if this place has been pushed up. If you'll notice the inconsistency with the way the way the plant roots are growing and showing it exposed, it's more like this place was either pushed up or dropped. Oh. Screwed up. Wait, it's... I forgot it's L3 to jump in this one, isn't it? Yep. There we go. And... yeah. Okay. Fading souls. Obviously, these creatures that are here guarding this place aren't exactly in the prime of condition anyway, so it's clear they aren't... they're just here as guards. L3 while dashing, that's right. Made it. A Titanite shard. Now, let's go through our inventory real quick and see if there's anything in particular that may help us. Undead treasure, these dull green flasks fill with Estus at bonfire and drink to restore HP. The journey of an undead has always traced the bonfires, and no journey of import has been made without an Estus flask. Quite befitting an undead, an ashen Estus flask turns a bonfire's heat cold. Alright. Obviously fire bombs. Gain a smattering of souls. Let the Firekeeper transform this sovereignless soul into a source of strength, for to be unkindled is to be a vessel for souls. Much like any undead. Titanite. Titanite shards of fragment legendary slabs. Titanite is etched into weapons to reinforce. Note here, Titanite by altered by a soul. Reinforces soul transposed weapons to +4. Weapons forged by soul transposition can only be reinforced by Titanite of the same kind. In rare cases, crystal lizards devour souls, growing to more monstrous proportion and leaving these great scales. Let's see, anything else? Nothing too much, just a basic straight sword, a sacred chime, orthodox shield, the kind commonly used by low-ranking knights. Medium shields are the most average shields, providing practical balance of damage absorption, stability, and weight. And yeah. Yeah, not much else to say. We've been rendered as an random knight and discarded throughout. History simply forgot about us. Well, it's not as if we sought to make a name anyway. We were simply looking for survival. Well, oh, before we continue on, I do want those fire bombs. They'll come in handy. Alright. And here, at the foot of a great tree, is a giant coffin. Again, take a look at your surroundings. This place should seem familiar. Up high in the mountains, yet something always seems off about it, doesn't it? I mean, if this place was built like it originally was, it's long since collapsed. Again, it seems almost as if this whole place simply, fell into the ground. These bulges seem almost nonsensical with the way this plateau and such are set up. Still, they're going to continue to explore, except these doors won't open. Now, and here's a question for you. A coffin this big, we can't see a corpse in it. Now, we were told about Yorm the Giant in the beginning of this story. This isn't his coffin, but it belongs to someone of his ilk anyway. It shouldn't be that large elsewise. Still, this is the first game to have this. You have to defeat a boss to complete your introduction. So, ladies and gentlemen, this great blade, this coiled sword, we have to remove it. He's still bleeding? Yes, he is. Udex Gundyr. This is a boss that caught a lot of people off guard. Because they weren't expecting to have to fight one before you have even the ability to level or get any real resources. I think I died to him twice myself before I caught on. No, Udex Gundyr here fights with this giant halberd. More importantly, he fights... Ow. Oh, caught me on the slash. He has these black tendrils sticking out of him. What could they possibly mean? Oh, that. Once he has these out, this is when I suggest start using the fire bombs. Just because it's easier to it's easier to keep your distance because of the size of that extra claw, it can be real easy to lose track of which attack he's doing and get hit. So my suggestion is keep your distance as long as you can, so you only have to hit him a couple times. Like you see, whatever that was possessing him, well, it seemed to be the only thing truly animating him. The man himself was probably long dead. But we did manage to get something. A coiled sword. Sword missing from the shrine bonfire. Cannot be equipped as a weapon. Thrust into the shrine bonfire to restore its power and enable travel between bonfires. This sword is only bequeathed to chosen Ash, as judged by the Udex, who awaits the arrival of Ash as a scabbard. In other words, we're simply meant as a vessel for their power, to bring their power to bear. And with that, we can now push on. And more of a cemetery. The broken straight sword. Oh, somebody's coming. There, you can see more of these poor souls just sitting around, lamenting their fate until they notice us. That's when they become active. More fading souls. Ah, there's another one down there. That's where I missed it. Okay. Down over here. Okay. To say, I knew I was missing something. Alright. Remember that my turn of phrase for all throughout Dark Souls 2 was, "It's a trap." The truth is, it was. The entire game was a trap. But the trap wasn't intended for you. You were inconsequential. You were an inevitability. The trap was meant to trap Nashandra, to keep her away from everything Vendrick had built and would leave behind. If it wasn't you, the player character, someone else would have eventually come to link the fire and take the throne. Vendrick made peace with that. It's why he went into that ground, and why he just accepted turning hollow. No. That entire game was a trap. This, ladies and gentlemen, if I was to choose a watch phrase, this is a struggle for survival. And it will be a struggle. Be prepared for it. Hoard what you must, use what you need. Gain the strength of flame, boosting HP until death. No one kindled can ever truly claim the embers that burn within a champion's bosom, which is precisely what makes their yearning for warmth so keen. Gain the strength of flame and increase max HP until death. With the strength of fire, the summoning signs of unkindled become visible, and seekers of embers can be summoned to join in cooperation. But beware, the embers may also attract invaders. Naturally, this is the equivalent of humanity or human effigies. It even retains the same shape, though you'll note that this one is a little different from the other two. This one is not purely dark. No, unkindled versus undead. Unkindled means that you haven't, I guess the best way is, you've tasted the flame before, and it burned you hollow. And welcome back to Firelink Shrine. Though it's not as we remember it, does it? Though, as more things change, the more they stay the same.
Ah, another one roused from the sleep of death. Well, you're not alone. We unkindled are worthless. Can't even die right. Gives me conniptions. And they'd have us seek the Lords of Cinder and return them to their moulding thrones. But we're talking true legends, with the metal to link the fire. We're not fit to lick their boots.
The more things change, the more they stay the same.
What a sick joke. Asking us to seek the Lords of Cinder and return them to their moulding. We're talking true legends.
Indeed. And there is the Firekeeper. But let's keep looking around. Speaking of these thrones, who do they belong to? Yorm the Giant of the profaned capital. Watchers of the Abyss. Holy King Lothric, last hope of his line. Ludlith the Exiled. Saint Aldrich of the Deep. And one of the thrones is already occupied. A small man missing his legs.
O that unkindled, and a seeker of lords. I am Ludlith of Corland.
Oh?
Look not in bewilderment as I say. I linked the fire long ago, becoming the Lord of Cinder. If substantiation be thy want, set thine eyes upon my charred corse. This sad cadaver, no need to be coy. Have a closer look. Knowest thou of our purpose? 5 thrones will take 5 lords as kindling for the linking of the fire. The fast-fading flame must be licked to preserve this world. A reenactment of the first linking of the fire.
Gwyn's stupidity.
So it is. I became a Lord of Cinder. I may be but small, but I will die a Colossus. Knowest thou of... Now.
So, exactly as you might wonder, he's the only one willing, after being awakened again, to endure the pain that it is to link the fire. So, at the very least to say, we only have 4 versus 5 thrones we must seek. But there's more to see here. After all, there's a familiar face all the way at the back.
A pleasure to make thine acquaintance, Ashen One. I am but a humble handmaid of the shrine. Weapons, armor, trinkets, and spells. I've lots of little things to ease the burden of a weary traveler. And yes, I'm undead too, but not so charitable as to give my goods away. Ashen One, fetch souls and bring them to me. As is thy wont, no?
She claims to be a simple handmaiden. Yet, if we were to think back, there was other times that we saw similarly dressed old women. Last firekeepers, the ones preserving the light against the dark. And she's not lying, she has quite a few useful trinkets for sale. Even a tower key for 20,000 souls. Various other tools, stuff to get you basically started. But I think this will be one of our greatest purchases. The White Sign Soapstone. After all, helping others could come in handy. Another thing she has from the beginning is the capacity to sell you're able to sell items. Something we weren't able to really do too much in 1. We had a particular merchant we had to seek out in 2, but now, this handmaid from the beginning will allow us to exchange goods we don't find useful for souls.
Ashen One, if my wares are not to thy satisfaction, bring me umbral ash. With ash, I'll fashion new wares.
Interesting.
Is it not our sorry fate to sup on death?
Well, the same could be said of anything who lives. After all, living things don't sup on other living things. They sup on the death of others.
Ashen One, is it not our sorry fate to sup on death?
Sorry, did that by accident.
Ashen One.
After all, souls are how you maintain your sanity. And a man we knew well, though he probably don't remember us.
Well, a newcomer, I see. I am Andre. I serve at this shrine as a humble smith, forging weapons. You're in search of the Lords of Cinder, I trust? A toilsome journey, I wager. You'll require good arms. Let me smith you weapons. I am a smith, such is my purpose.
Indeed. So,
Weapons and protection are sturdy enough by and large, but when overused, they'll eventually break. When their durability is low, use a powder, but should chance impel them break, I'll hammer them back. They take no pleasure in breaking, so hand.
alright. And from the beginning you have the ability to improve your weapons, though you'll see the Titanite shards cost is higher than what you would have initially. You can also infuse weapons, if you have the stones. Repair equipment. He also allows you to alter your Estus. In this particular case, you can alter how many Ashen versus regular Estus. For now, we'll leave it at 4. In Reinforce, if you have shards.
Pretty big, I don't want to say.
So, and beyond that, it doesn't appear to be anyone else. So, we should be alright. And again, this place is old and withered, and there are headstones everywhere. As if a great many graves were brought here. Alright. And there is actually, you may miss it on your first time, but a second floor to this place. You simply go up these stairs from the entrance. And up here to the right, nothing particular, but if you head this way, a familiar sight. A seed of a giant tree is yet to fall. Well, as you might have expected, this place saw the giants eventually. So is this Drang Lake? No, not necessarily. But at the very least, we know that when giants are felled, a tree eventually sprouts from them. And that key that the priestess was selling for the dilapidated tower behind the shrine, this would be it. And I think, theoretically, there's a way to glitch it where you get onto there, but it's not really worth it. And I'm not going to lose the health falling. And on the other side, bonfire will deliver thee to Lothric. Alright. So, this is... I'm still building up. Sorry, it'll be a little bit. I'm still building up the story. And now, finally, we'll speak to the maiden. Much like in Dark Souls 1, this one has a bit to say.
Welcome to the bonfire, unkindled one. I'm a firekeeper. I tend to the flame, and tend to thee. The lords have left their thrones, and must be delivered to them. To this end, I am at thy side. Ashen One, to be unkindled is to be a vessel for souls. Sovereignless souls will become thy strength. I will show thee how. Ashen One, bring me souls plucked from their vessels.
And with
Very
them...
well, then touch the darkness within me. Take nourishment from these sovereignless souls.
And so we can begin and increase our strength. If you're ever curious about which stats do what, they do get highlighted. Note that no matter what way you upgrade your character, your physical and defenses all tend to rise, and status effects tend to rise by a percentage no matter what. And what each one does specifically can vary. Like in this case, let's go down the list. Vigor. Your level indicates the general strength. Souls, how many you have. Required souls to level. Vigor, attribute governing HP, also governs resistance to frost, majorly. Your attunement, attribute governing your FP, your MP. Also determines the number of attunement slots. Attribute governing stamina. It also governs the resistance to lightning and bleeding. Attribute that governing physical defense, though is also affected by other attributes, also governs your maximum equipment load and poison resistance. This is one that actually gets overlooked a lot, but you really want to throw in my opinion. Attribute required to wield powerful heavy weapons, also governs the resistance to fire and improves attack strength. Dexterity. Attribute required to wield advanced weapons, also improves attack strength, reducing spellcasting time, and reduces the damage taken when falling. Attribute required to cast sorceries and pyromancies, increases spell potency. Pyromancy is affected by both faith and intelligence. Magic defense is also calculated from this attribute, so your intelligence actually does quite a bit for you. Faith, attribute required to cast miracles and pyromancies, increases your spell potency. Pyromancy is affected by both faith and intelligence. Dark defense is also calculated from this attribute more so than intelligence. And then, attribute governing item discovery, ups bleeding and poison capabilities, also governs your resistance to curses. Now, as I've been talking, you can hear a constant chanting from the
manifestations of disparity, elucidated by fire, burrowed deep within me, retreating to a darkness beyond.
She's calling for the souls to join with you, to give you their strength. Now, like I said, I hadn't really put too much into what we're going to do. But I will say this. I don't plan to do much in attunement. But 56, yeah. You get a good amount of return on your defenses for vitality. But for now, we'll get more strength just because that's early on. There. And the intelligence and faith of 10, probably going to up them to 15. If not 20. At least, faith, luck, intelligence, and luck come in handy in this game.
Farewell, Ash May the Flame.
Alright. So, we've seen what we have to offer here, and we were bid to embed the coiled sword. In doing so, we create a proper bonfire here. And there's only one thing left to do. To rest and, well, there's only one place we can go, aside from the Cemetery of Ash, the Udex Gundyr, Firelink Shrine itself, but select the bonfire to travel to. Ember indicates host of Ember presence. So, we can only go one place, the High Wall of Lothric. Alright. And note, there's no bonfire to greet us. In fact, there's nothing here. All there is an altar with a coiled sword on a basin relief, or at least of the great basin that we used. The vessel that we put those souls into back when we linked the fire. Back when we grabbed all the souls in Dark Souls 1. And it's on an altar, so one would have to imagine that it's something sacrosanct to whoever this place belonged to. But with it being so overgrown with webs and roots, it would seem this place is long since decayed. Still, standing here doesn't accomplish anything, so, as we have once before, let us step out. The High Wall of Lothric. We're definitely high up, that is without doubt. But a city of an immense scale, one that would even make Anor Londo seem small and petty by comparison. Like, this place is incredible. I mean, genuinely, take a look and think about the amount of time, effort, and genius it would take to build a castle and towers this large. Even for someone like Vendrick, who had tireless golems, this would be an immense feat. And then there's what we come across. These malformed creatures decaying upward? There's these tree branches sprouting from them. Almost as if they were giants. We saw trees sprouting from giants before from their corpses back in Drang Lake. Blue wouldn't know about this, so they simply would regard this as more corpses to be ignored on their journey. But it does beg the question, how did things become this way? Still, questions you can't answer on your own aren't worth much. So for now, we'll simply venture on. Though it's kind of odd these people are... These hollows, they're praying towards these others? That makes no sense. Oh. He's alerted them. Doesn't seem like there's much fight in a lot of these ones. Kind of reminds you of dealing with those souls outside the New Londo ruins who just given up. And then there's these statues. Figures hunched over, holding candles in prayer. Impatient waiting. What could they have been waiting for? And most impressive of all, there's a dragon. It's dead, right? Yeah. It's dead and its corpse is sort of... ash and mist is sort of flaking off it. It's not disappearing, it's just simply there. But there seem to be some stairs up here. And more of these creatures. Yep. Got him. Before he could act. Huh. But chairs. People were meant to sit and watch here? The thing that would be odd is if the dragon, if they were sitting there to, if they brought chairs to sit and watch the dragon, well, the dragon would have to have been there first, because just by walking around and swinging its tail, it would have shattered those chairs. You saw we did barely by doing anything. Ah, binoculars. A never useful item. Okay, and it is, I forgot, in this game it is relegated to the use slot. But yeah, some more of these tree people things. And the dragon just kind of collapsed here, I take it. Simple enough. But it's clear. So people came to look at the corpse of this dragon? Well, I suppose having a corpse of a dragon would be a sight to see. Though what's more interesting is these black flakes coming off of it. And here, you find a little hidey hole. Gold pine resin. Excellent for imbuing your weapon with a status, but it's mostly dragon types that find the dragon type enemies that are vulnerable. Yep. More fire bombs, because as you can see, with the speed of this game, fire bombs become far more useful. And still. And then from here, well, there's a giant, some more of the others. He saw us, but there's no way to us, as this is all broken. So, unsurprisingly, we'll have to keep going. The soul of it. Yep. Alright. Enemies ahead, huh? Well, it's a pretty common practice in this game. I mean, finding an ally ahead is honestly the rare thing. Alright. Oh. Crossbowman. Get rid of him. And some more. Oh, you don't have a shield, so you're easy. Ow. Alright. Oop. Yeah, hurts a bit, but the shield helps. Alright. Nice. Yeah, getting the field back already, are we, Blue? We're familiar with this kind of thing, after all. Oop. Oh, broke my guard. Nice. And without. Nice. We made it. That was simple enough. Nothing we haven't dealt with before. But there was another stairwell up there. So, we should take a look up here. What? Oh! That dragon's not dead. Yeah. Nice example. Yeah, I'm just gonna... Okay, there we go. Just because that felt a little loud to me. Sorry, folks. But yeah. The dragon... Yeesh. Yeah. And as you can imagine, it's a dragon's fire. We're not going to get through it easily. But once it's had its breath, it calms down. Though, this dragon looks a little weird, doesn't it? Like, its neck, it seems almost wrong. Not that its neck seems almost too long, doesn't it? And the ridges along it. It looks almost more like it's, well, forgive me, but a centipede. Strange, isn't it? The other versions we've seen have been very different. Now, as you might guess, the dragon does breathe fire down even in that valley down here. So, yeah, you're not going to be getting out of it easy. But, at the very least, it's not over here, so we can at least come around here safer, and a knight. Far more active and faster. Reminds me of the Drakeblood Knights. Got him. Yep. Ow. Yeah, he hurts. Whoop. There we go. But yeah. Also note, we got a refill. There are certain points, places, and enemies that will give you refills. So, keep an eye out for that. It'll help you survive longer. More fire bombs. And unfortunately, this path doesn't open from here. So, we can simply move ahead. The dragon's blocking an area. Oh. Poor guy with just a dagger taking us on, huh? Well, there looks to be more enemies down below. Let's see if we can't go up above and try and get our bearings. Ah, a bonfire, always welcome. And nope. Again, more of these creatures. These hollows looking towards the heavens. Another Titanite shard. But they're all looking up, as if there's something in the sky they're heading towards. Still, there's more to be seen. As we explore down here, we can see more of these ragged thief types. Yep. Their knives ready and sharp to kill any who come across them. They've all long since gone hollow, apparently. Alright, and now that we've taken care of these fools, there's this item over here on the branch, or the log. Oh, just some more fire bombs. But they can definitely come in handy. And now we have two paths, out and down. Well, we've already touched the highest point, so let's see what the lowest down here offers. A rather large figure with a halberd. His careless swinging gave us an opening. And yet again. Though, it is worth noting, these soldiers are actually probably some of the best equipped of the basic soldiers we've seen. Remember how sparsely and little the basics hollows were, often only clothed with the clothes on their back and armed with shoddy blades. Oh, there's an item over there. Throwing knives, always welcome. Though something seems a little off. Yeah, it's a trap. Yeah, explosive barrels. It's a basic trap to try and get you newbies. And same with this. No, this is how you do it. There you go. Mail breaker. Basic piercing weapon if you're a bigger fan of dexterity and thrust builds. A bit short, but can be used good for good sword catching. I think it has more parry frames than most other swords you would hold in your left hand. And a thief. It's locked. A thief in a cell. Pretty unremarkable, really. I mean, that's gotta be a pretty common thing for them, right? I mean, you could assume they're a thief anyway. I mean, look at them. Still, that's the top to the bottom of this tower completed. And we've seen what we can see, so all we can do now is proceed. Soul of a desecrated corpse. And another dragon. How many dragons did this place harbor and why are so many dead ones here? And what is this mist coming off of them? Yeah, I see you, buddy. Monstrosity ahead, therefore try ranged battle. Well, they've been giving us firebombs. And yeah, another dead dragon. Well, not much we can do about it. I have to wonder, are they praying towards these or praying for them? They've all lost their minds, so it's impossible to tell. But it's a question one has to answer. Oh, and one decides they want to fight. Oh. 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 Wait. Seeing it a second time. Doesn't this sort of resemble a dragon? Oh. Oh. They don't like fire. Like I said. Oop. It got me. Got it. That parasite that was in Udek's Gundyr. It's the same thing, isn't it? That's what was in them. That was what caused this guy to be so violent. It resembles a dragon. So then, is that linked? Still, if nothing else, we've at least seen that we need to go back. We have no HP and no real healing. So, best thing to do is rest. Mystery upon mystery upon mystery. So then, is this metamorphosis that these hollows are undergoing? Is it the same or is it different than what turns them into these monsters? Oh? Okay, yeah, that's just a player. Okay. I was gonna say, I didn't remember us getting any of the NPC help. But yeah. And there's a question. This dragon, is this simply the fully formed thing of that black thing that just sprouted out of that guy? No, the knight does... Yeah. No, because the knight walks out of the room, you can just walk past him. You don't have to fight him every time. You can if you want. Yeah. More throwing knives. But yeah. Now note... There we go. Yeah, I'll always love that. You can kick him off the ladder. It doesn't come up too much, but it is something that you are capable of doing. Alright. Now, the other thing to note about enemies like this, if you can get some good damage in on them before they start really going nuts, you can kill them. Also, like I said, they don't like being on fire, so yeah. Using that to your advantage is pretty useful, and firebombs are more than common enough in this area. Alright, come here. Come here. There we go. A raw gem. Removes stat scaling, but does increase the base damage of a weapon. So if you have a weapon you're not really going to specialize the stats in, it can be worthwhile. Somewhat. In general, stat scaling is generally where you get a bunch of really good damage. And we could take the ladder, or we could just drop straight down. Oh. And crossbowman. More firebombs. And we saw an item down and over here. Black fire bombs. Oh my. If you look down, there's a lot of dead knights. And one figure with an extremely large axe. I'm going patrolling it. I'm going to assume safely he's the cause of that. Well, we're not there yet. Still. And yet, there's more of these knights roaming around. He has a spear and a great shield, so in terms of armament, he's heavier than us. But the spear has the usual weakness. A spear, though he seems to favor using that shield. There. Note he doesn't develop the real weakness of the average shield user, the weaker spear users. So, this is where your two-handed stances using FP can really come in handy. Your heavier blows can break through an enemy's defense. Knowing when to use that and use up your FP is what's going to be the key success to you playing as a melee player. If you're focused on dealing damage up close, realizing what that entails, and knowing that the full breadth of your skills and what they'll accomplish is where you'll succeed. An undead hunter charm. Probably left behind by the poor bastard who didn't succeed in his duty. Yeah, and anytime you see an item out in the open, take a look to your left or right. More than likely there's an enemy waiting to ambush you. More Titanite shards, always welcome. And just another way outlooking the plaza. We're drawing closer to that big guy, but well, we'll deal with that when we get there. And thankfully, many of the soldiers carry lanterns and lights. These undead making these guys easy to see. And hidden in the back, the broadsword. We started with a long sword, but the basic broadsword is still one of the better weapons too. A straight sword with a broad blade designed for slashing. Large sweeping attack that makes this effective against crowds, but is prone to deflection from walls and narrow spaces. It does have an inherently slight strength, have an inherent damage buff over the basic longsword, and it's a focus on strength instead of dexterity. This weapon could actually see you through most of the game, and I have done so in the past. Its basic utility and strength can just about adapt to a basic melee build, and the warning about narrow areas is valid, like you see, but all it takes is a slight adjustment of the angle so that the beginning of your swing doesn't get stopped, and you've got access to and even in the most narrow areas. So, if you want, this weapon in particular gets my full game seal of approval, and I mean that up to endgame. it's fast enough to carry you in quite a few locations. But it all comes down to personal taste. Alright. And we've gotten so far. Let's head further in. And there's a way down with two of the larger guys with a halberd and an axe and a dog. But there's also... Yeah, you saw the path of that swing. It's actually surprisingly evasive. So you can actually get away. Yeah. Like I said, it doesn't seem like much, but the broadsword can actually be universally useful. Now the mimic. Mimics will be a greater threat in this game than any other. And we just got access to probably one of the best early game shields, if not one of my favorite game-long shields. The Knight Shield is very nice. And this shield is technically slightly heavier, has slightly less durability, and just statistically a slightly less overall. However, it has one distinction. Look down in skill. Where this has the basic parry, the Silver Eagle Kite Shield allows you to use weapon skills rather than parry. So it's less inherently defensive, but I can fall into the stance of my weapon at any point, allowing me to have more attacking options to adapt to what situation I'm in at any given point. So, keep that in mind. By the way, yeah, dogs really don't like fire. And if you've played Elden Ring and noticed how the dogs are a real pain, this is the game where they started getting that attack habit of bypassing your shields. There we go. Because yes, those wrapped up barrels are all explosives. So, if you time it right, you can just blow these guys up. Just wait till they're nearing the... Oof, he survived. Yep. Yeah. Though, thing to note, all of these soldiers, and the dogs alike, they've been undead for a very long time. Like, there's no doubt, these things... A cell key. There's no doubt about it. Every one of these undead have been so for a long time. An Estus shard. Hidden item. More tight. Oh! Ow. Completely forgot about you, buddy. Oh. Alright. As I say, thing about these big axe wielders, they hit hard. And they leave themselves eminently open, but it is not impossible to take them out. And unfortunately, we've now hit the point where we have no choice. The only way out of here is to drop down. Another rapier, another thrusting weapon. And unfortunately, maybe he'll just bypass us if we don't move. Maybe he'll mistake us. Yeah, actually that's the trick. This guy actually doesn't have great perception around him. So, if you want to cheaply grab all the items around, you can. Or you can just run. We'll come back and talk about these statues later. Oh! You prick. Oh. There we go. Alright. Because if I remember correctly, and it's been a little bit, one of the ways I want to go is over here. Oh. Well, that's easy enough. Oh. Yep. Oh, yeah, sure, that was easy. Okay. Gets ambushed by 4 more guys. Sure. Alright. Any other items? Maybe hitting the boxes. Nope. Alright. And an elevator. Ah, there's an item. Hey, throwing knives. A door. Where does this lead us? Alright. Alright. Well, that's one guy down. And yeah, you're not dead. If there's an item with a corpse across from it, the corpse ain't actually dead. Okay. Oh. Prick. Alright. Yep. Alright. I'm gonna lead you down here where the archer can't see me. Come on. How hard is it to walk around? Ooh. Right? Oh! How the hell did you get behind me, you prick? There we go. Oh, hey! Just what I needed. Some extra HP. Alright. Ow. Okay. Alright, the dog saw me, so I should be able to lead them to where the bomb... Yep. There we go. Alright, let's go get that archer. Ugh. No one else? Okay. Now how the hell do I get to you? Wait. This is that first bonfire. So we double backed on ourselves? Oh, we simply missed this part. Yeah, because there's the dragon. Well, that worked out well for us. Well, Then there's this tower over here. Alright. Oh, another archer. And got in my way. Alright. Well, at the very least I can try and get him. Alright. Standard bolts. Ah, a longbow. Another raw gem. Which makes sense for these... Let's say, anything over here? Nope. Makes sense for these weaker undead to have that. After all, they probably are barely strong enough to wield these weapons, so having them just do inherently more damage makes some sense. It's every little bit of power they need. Alright. But let's see. And that cell was in the tower over there. Well, we need to rest anyway, so... Let's... Note that we no longer need the God Vessel to teleport. And that was inherent in both 2 and 3, as if it's still in position. Or the Lord's Vessel, as they called it. Alright, because one of the items we did pick up was a cell key. Key to a cell holding thieves and the like. There's no shortage of brash thieves in Lothric, and these particular thieves likely scaled the wall from the undead settlement. But they are only willing to practice their thievery on the high wall, for their fear of Lothric Castle, rumored to devour men, keeps them clear of its grounds. So they're only taking from the middle and low class people. They don't hit the high class, because those rich folks can do something horrible to people with nigh impunity here in Lothric. Alright. There you are. Nice. And let's see, the cell we saw... Nice. Fancy attack. Ow. And nope, don't have the dexterity for the longbow. And this key. Nope, it's locked to us. And here. Alright. Oh, throwing knife. Here it is. And indeed, the cell works here. Hello.
Ah. You're no jailer, are you?
No.
No, you're from far away. And judging by the bell, you must be some of that unkindled ash. Remarkable. If that's true, then I have a favor to ask. Below the high wall is a musty little town. Not the home of any lord, just a very old settlement of undead. An old woman Loretta lives there. Please, give her this ring. I'm not asking for charity. In fact, if you do this for me, I'll be sure to repay you in kind. I may be a petty thief, but I've more wits than most royalty. What do you say then, huh?
We have no reason to refuse, and we very well may end up passing through that settlement. So sure.
Very well. I humbly place my faith in you. I am Grey Rat of the Undead Settlement, and I promise to assist you. Give this ring to old Loretta at the base of the high wall. Do your part, and I'll do mine.
The blue tearstone ring. A ring set with a large, rare tearstone jewel. Temporarily boosts damage absorption when HP is low. The stone is said to bear a tear of sorrow of the goddess Kytha, and of course, tears are always more beautiful near death. Well, it's not our ring, so we shouldn't put it on. Don't want to risk it getting damaged after all. And he asked something relatively simple. Simply return the ring to its owner. Or at least smuggle it out. It doesn't seem like there's anybody here who would honestly miss it. So, we'll simply move along. Now, just thinking which will be the quickest way to get back to where we want to go. I think we'll take that shortcut we unlocked. So, we'll head up and teleport to the other. The High Wall of Lothric. The Farron Flash Sword, huh? Well, we made it this far. Take the Ashen off for the moment. We do have plenty of throwing knives. Got it. Don't need the knives for the dogs. There we go. Wow. The vertical leap these guys can get is impressive, to say the least. Alright. And you can finish off. And down we go. And now that we know that there are several people looking to ambush us out here, this should not be as big an issue. But where did they all come from? They dropped from above, or... Nope! They're hanging off the sides of the building. And again, just a place where the... where this broadsword can really show its worth. The green blossom. And that's my fault for getting the weapon caught on the wall. They warn you about the broadsword. but you can still use it pretty well. Here, another large soul. Hey, we made it. A ring of sacrifice. Lose nothing upon death, but the ring breaks. This mystical ring was created in a sacrificial rite of Velka, goddess of sin. Its wearer will lose nothing upon death, but the ring itself breaks. A sacrifice is only worth as much as the life it spares. Well, we have a chance. Let's see what we can do. Let's test how good I truly am. Oh. Okay. Oh, I even got the backstab. And to think, the guy as big as this, we can still backstab. Oof. Quite a devastating attack. Uh-oh. Ow. But he does leave himself vulnerable while he does that. An ember. Still, he cut through these knights pretty easily. We were just simply fortunate they probably all wore him down. Yep. And this tells a story all its own. That was another one of these blue-clad knights, impaled again and again, arrows, spears, and still he was reaching for his weapon. I imagine it took all these knights and every soldier, even these deserters, to hold them down. This musty, rusted hunk of metal befits one reduced to thievery. You'll also note the consistency and the same thing about every one of these corpses. Every last one is missing their head. So here's the question. Did that Blue Knight do this to all of them? Or maybe they all did that to themselves. The reason I offer the point is because of the architecture we see here, where a headless knight is depicted as a noble thing, as something to be enshrined and memorialized in stone. Soul of a deserted corpse. And Lion Knight Albert, quite a strong man wielding a great axe. And there are knights around. Some with spears, some with swords. Oh. Oof. Well, and since there's two of us, that makes this a little easier. Yep. 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 There we go. And of course... Nice. there's some more soldiers over here. And more. Nice. Oh. Missed one. We'll end that quick. But yeah. More of these knights. All beheaded. And simply... And then there's these stone-backed creatures. They have a hollow face reminiscent of the giants. Someone has to wonder, are they some relative of the giants, perhaps? And with the fact that the knights are all beheaded so cleanly. Nice. It more than likely does. It definitely doesn't feel like there was the work of a fight. It's too clean. A Lothric Knight's helm. It is slightly heavier with more focus on slash and thrust, and magic, and yeah, just as generally heavier but better helm. Armor of a celebrated Lothric Knight. A strong steel helm, if a little worn. The knight has served as one of the three pillars since ancient times, and shares place alongside the wyverns as a symbol of Lothric. Only those possessing a knight's resolve are fit to wear this garment. Well, I think we hold up to that standard. And there's another knight. This one dressed in blue, with red eyes. Red eyes have famously always been a symbol of a step above an enemy of greater danger. Nice. But 2-on-1, well, yep. Oof. Got him. Nice. Most importantly, we got a refined gem. Forged a gem infused of infused titanite. Forged the weapons of Lothric knights. Use an infusion to create refined weapons. Refined weapons are difficult to wield properly and scale effectively with strength and dexterity. Basically balances out strength and dexterity on their growth. And more of these stone-humped creatures. They're preying, touching the walls, clawing at them. You would think the knights would have been holding them back, but from the way they're just slouched over, it seems almost like they were all simply holding. Oh. Notice Albert wants to enter, but he can't here. Visions of bad luck. There's someone here. An old woman it looks like.
The wait has been long, unkindled one. I am Emma, High Priestess of Lothric Castle. Allow me to speak frankly. You will
Okay.
not find the Lords of Cinder here. They have left, gone, to their churning homes converging at the base of this castle. Head to the bottom of the high wall, forge on through the great gate, and raise this banner to proceed.
Okay.
This farewell gift is for you. It is the insignia of an old covenant. If you fear trespassers, dark spirits drawn by the embers, then etch this upon your heart, and the old Concord will beckon noble blue sentinels to hunt these foul spirits.
The way of blue.
Unkindled one, go through but beware. The dog keeps a close eye on things, the vile watchdog of the Boreal Valley.
I wonder who she speaks of. The vile watchdog of the Boreal Valley. And this is a new thing with covenants, is you can actively switch them as you go. Pale blue sheepskin parchment featuring an illustration of the moon, symbol of an ancient accord. Members of the Way of Blue are the beneficiaries of an ancient accord. When a dark spirit threatens them, a blue spirit will grant them assistance and help to root out the invader. Summoning takes place automatically while this is equipped. So you don't have to do anything, but if you get invaded and you want some help, this is one way to get that. Then there's the other item she gave us. Small banner held by Lothric messengers, held up outside the main castle gate to be greeted by an escort. When the high wall appeared, the path to the undead settlement was blocked, and messengers bearing this banner. They were sent out with a duty, but had no way of returning. When the high wall appeared, so this place wasn't always here, and this was a new development? But again, the Knights of the Lothric, note that they're all ritualistically decapitated. So, more than likely, the only ones who attacked the blue executioners we saw, the big blue one with the axe, more than likely the one that has all those swords and spears, it was the deserters, the ones who didn't want to sacrifice themselves. They were ones put in the position to fight back and kill them. And then hide out, hoping that these blue knights would just forget about them. Still, this is the only way out, the great gate she described. And there seems to be something that wedging open it. Still, this is what we need to get through. Is there any way through? Could we squeeze through? Oh. That's an unpleasant sound. Yeah. Oh. Well, I can see why she called him a dog. It even howls. Vort of the Boreal Valley, huh? Alright. And a new status effect unique to this game, or at least one we haven't seen since the very beginning. That is Frostbite. Being every swing of his weapon. In this game, Frostbite does a good chunk of damage and then slows your stamina regeneration. So it can be quite a brutal effect. Oof. Oh, he's pissed off now. His eyes are glowing blue. If eyes of red indicates a dangerous opponent, blue indicates a lethal one. Yep. Alright. Took some damage, but managed to avoid the real worst of it. Took that on the shield, so we're fine there. Ow. Yeah, Vort tends to overshoot, so honestly you're... Oh. Yeah. Alright. Yep. And that breath attack leaves him pretty vulnerable. And we did end up getting frostbitten. Still, we made it. And Albert leaves us to go back to his own journey. And the Great Gate opens for us. And like the messengers before, we'll head out. Soul of Boreal Valley Vort. Vort served as an outrider knight, never far from the fleeting dancer. We've seen no such dancer. Well, we have other quests and other things to worry about. But having won a battle, we should secure these souls as power for ourselves.
Welcome home, Ashen One. Speak thine heart's desire. Very well. Then touch the darkness within me, take nourishment from these sovereignless souls. Let these souls withdrawn from their vessels, manifestations of disparity, elucidated by fire, deep within.
So we have about 4 levels. Strength, definitely having more HP and endurance is going to be good.
Farewell, Ashmay the Flame.
Ah, 'tis good this one needs smithing.
Let's see. We don't have the stats required yet for the Lucerne. We can definitely just improve our broadsword. And we need one more Titanite shard. But we can also so if we did the refined gem, it reduces the direct damage we do, but it will increase the damage we get from the bonuses. So for example here, it'll do 128 plus 18, which is 146. And if we go here, it's what, 34. So technically we lose some damage for the temporary period, but in the long run you would gain more. But again, then we could also do a raw gem, where we would basically be able to, we just get 163 damage, which is still more, but for only temporary, because we get no bonuses as we gain stats. Or we could add fire damage, which removes stat scaling and just gives you a flat bonus. It also makes it impossible to strike explosive barrels because they will just blow up on you. So, in addition, know that doing the same for weaponry just doesn't do great for shields. What we can do is use an Estus shard, increasing the number of uses. We'll leave it at 5 for now. Also note, you can't touch armor in this game. Armor stats are set. You can't improve them further.
Maybe I don't want it.
Alright. And our good friend.
Oh, hello, you're back. And in one piece. Well, now it's time I do my part. Whatever trinketers thou does.
So, a secondary merchant. This one specializing in more weapons. Standard bolt fire arrow, hard leather set. A spear wouldn't be the worst thing. Well, we'll leave it be for now.
Do me a favor and don't forget, give this ring a nuisance, I know. Goodbye. Oh, this place is a bore.
And he's kind of bored with us right now. Well, I'm sure this place won't be too boring for too long.
What a sick joke. Asking, we're talking.
Nothing new there. Still, as it stands, we're looking at how much for a level 26. Nice. One more level and then we'll be on our way.
Welcome our speaker. Very well, then take Nari.
Alright.
Farewell, Ashen, may the flame.
Alright. And with those souls spent, we can head back to the bonfire for Vort of the Boreal Valley. And we were told to raise this banner beyond the Great Gate. But before you do, take a look. There are many places that we will eventually be seeing. But there's a great wall there surrounding an area around a ruined fortress and a great cathedral Beyond, I see small manors and great cathedrals alike, what seems to be some kind of ramshackle shantytown. And, well, hidden in the mist there looks to be some grand cathedral. And mountains beyond. And if I look closely at the edge of the world, I think I'd see the ocean. Still. Oh, yeah. We can see the ocean in some places. Wow. This'll be quite an action. This'll be quite an adventure, won't it? Well, let's head out. Oh. What? Oh. I haven't seen you all in a very long time. The connections between 1 and 3 are very strong. And so, our journey continues. And we reach the undead settlement. And if you look out, we can see where we started. And the gate. And the gatehouse that we followed. Oh. More of these stone-humped creatures. The bridge was taken out by the fighting with dragons. Well, all we can do is explore and get closer. Alright. Excuse me. Yeah. I've been muting while I cough, so sorry if you heard that. Yeah. And down here we see more of these undead. And dogs. Yeah. The dogs were sent out to slaughter them? But they're hollows. Killing them doesn't really accomplish much. And this guy with the cleavers just kind of watching. Well, I suppose it was to keep them from getting into the undead settlements? But from where did they come? 'Cause... Oh. An alluring skull. Well, at least it explains why the dogs were after them. These creatures. They're all just... They were clearly heading towards some part of Lothric Castle. the high wall of Lothric, and I imagine Lothric Castle itself. Oh. More homeward bones. And each one has a stone tied, lashed, chained literally to their backs. But there's still things creeping out from under that hump. Were they human? And they were desperate. They die reaching out. I'd say towards the dragon.
Please, grant me death. Undo my shackles.
Who? Oh, that one looks a little different. Are you it? Oh, you're still alive. He's still alive.
Oh, then it's true. A champion of Ash as I live and breathe. To be in your presence is a great honor. I am Yol of Londor, a pilgrim, as you can see, only somehow I failed to die as was ordained. Well, perhaps my calling lies elsewhere. Say, champion of Ash, how does the idea of taking me into your service strike you? I was once a sorcerer. Surely I can be of use.
Sure.
Oh, I am honored, truly. I should be dead, yet you have granted me purpose anew. I, Yol of Londor, do solemnly swear myself to you.
And there he goes. So, we have gotten access to Yol of Londor, a sorcerer now turned pilgrim. So, these are all pilgrims from Londor, seeking to die as ordained. So these pilgrims made a pilgrimage to die here. Or at least die trying to get to Lothric? It's unclear. Still, at the very least, the idea is we have more people to interact with to learn more of the current situation. And they mentioned earlier that the high wall of Lothric appeared, meaning that wasn't part of this place before. Well, it's not the most welcoming place. You can see among these dead branches there are corpses, tied, bound, wrecked, just everywhere. So it seems life was quite cheap here. And we're clearly not welcome. And I imagine if they had their ways, we'd be just another hanging corpse. But it's clear also that these people didn't like outsiders. And they're using basic farming equipment. That spear of his was a pitchfork used for moving hay and other materials. The basic cleaver he's using was probably just a meat cleaver, just meant to carve up the day's hunt. And yet another one of these corpses that is seemingly turning into a tree, the same as a giant would. Small leather shield. So, I imagine these corpses strung up well, weren't exactly the most noble of souls. They're probably, like us, unkindled ash, as everyone calls us. Corpses so plentiful that they just stuck them in cages to restrain and restrict them. Charcoal pine resin to add fire to your weapon. And yeah, another farmer. The four-pronged plow. Not bad. No, that doesn't require as much as a lucerne hammer. This four-pronged plow is shaped like a fist, and is a worker's tool in the undead settlement. Not originally intended for battle, but serves as a deadly weapon owing to its sharp points. It's less damage overall, and it's technically heavier. However, it does allow you to attack while keeping yours up, and its charge attack can be kind of nice. Again, you don't have to use any particular weapon or style. Cut that corpse down because it apparently has something on it. Repair powders. Useful if you're venturing a little farther out than you're expecting and your weapon starts to get a little damaged. It's not as major an issue as in 2, but it can still be if you're going through a long time between bonfires. But yeah. There's a blood stain, so you know there's an ambush someplace. You can see one part of it there. Yeah. More of these thieves. Yep. Eager and ready to plant their blades in your back. I thought I would get the drop attack if I walked up, but it was too short. Alright. And another one. Clearly they were hoping you'd run straight for the item. Charcoal bundle. But yeah. And here, corpses have simply been piled up. The charcoal pine resin was likely someone preparing to throw it on and use it to but basically was probably looking to incinerate the corpses, clean it up, and put them to proper rest and rites. At least that's what one would hope for them. And yeah, more and more corpses just out in the open. Death and more death. And this seems to be a service. Whether the burning of the tree itself or the corpses at its feet, it seems like this place is just rife with people looking, if not to celebrate, to acknowledge the end of life. And speaking of the end of life, an old, discolored human bone with several holes in it, bored into it. A woman's corpse in the undead settlements was found clutching this bone. Her name was Loretta. We found Loretta, unfortunately all too late. Illusory wall. Nope. Someone's always got to make the joke. And yeah. There's a lot of these guys. Thankfully, there's also only so many of them. Over here. And thus the use for throwing knives is shown. Yeah. It's easy to get overwhelmed, but if you acknowledge your surroundings, you can handle enemies one by one. Turning this game into a duel is how you survive. Or at least your best chance to survive is one-on-one. It's why nobles in ancient battlefields would always prefer open duels between them versus entering the melee fray, because dealing with the militia was always a big risk. All it takes is the militia only needs to get one good blow to kill you. But a noble might kill you by 100 cuts, and it might take much longer. Soul of an Unknown Traveler. And now... Oh, she saw me. Say hello to the sister. Ow. That homing spell, that spell of theirs homes a hell of a lot more than you think it does. Note how much HP she has. Nope. And yes, that is an attack grab that will probably kill you. Yeah. The sisters are priests of this place. Looking to put those endless souls to right. Another Estus shard. And this might help you understand what an Estus shard is. But a concentration of the power of death. And basically something that builds on corpses. As well as the embers being the last burning remnants of a soul and body. Note that there's still groaning. Now, even though we don't have the stats to use it properly, you don't need to worry about it if you're looking to do something like this. Where if you're knocking down a body, your stats don't matter. So long as you hit the right spot, it doesn't matter. Kukris. A knife that is designed specifically to cause bleeding. Don't see anything else in the tree. Alright. And now, there's still people around. Titanite shard, always welcome. And again, more and more corpses simply lined up to be burned. As if there was a sudden influx of dead people, and suddenly needed to be handled. So many, in fact, that they had to come up with various methods to deal with them. Even if it meant something as simple as putting them in a cage and forgetting about them. By the way, the charcoal and pine bundle burns shorter, but it's also quicker to apply in mid-combat. Let me see, there's an item on this one of these corpses. Large soul of a departed corpse. Alright. And doesn't open from this side. But there's something glowing inside. Well, then there should be a way to drop down. Indeed. And in here we find the Warrior of Sunlight. Shield, I believe. Oh no, is it just a token? Oh no, it's a, yeah, it's another covenant. Pledge oneself to the Warrior Sunlight Covenant. An ancient talisman depicting a holy symbol bestowed upon warriors of sunlight, equipped to pledge oneself to the Warrior of Sunlight Covenant. Warriors of Sunlight are brilliantly beaming cooperators who place their golden signatures to help those in need, for it is their duty to deliver a great conquest to their summoner. And here we find Estus soup. You drink it and it is a heal. Not a common thing, but it speaks to the kind of place we're in, that Estus soup could even be made in the first place. Normally, you can only restore Estus at a bonfire. But for someone to make soup of it implies a common practice of cooking for undead, who would have ever think of that? Oh, there we go. Well, we could drop down, but there's still other places to go. Still. Because I believe that allows us to reach down here. Because I believe that reaches, that was up above this path. Yeah, and they would have dropped down on your head. And yeah, if you're ever not sure about a group, just L3 and R3 rather, and lock on to C. Yeah. Yep, we got it. Oh. Red eyes. His weapon of choice is a bit unique. A shodel and knife. The shodel is obviously meant to work around shields. Obviously meant to just disparage and break people down. He's used to dealing with creatures like us, By that I'm referring to the idea of knights who have a shield to protect them. The shoulder works best against someone who's being defensive and protective, while the dagger allows them to catch off guard. Catch them off guard and apply additional damage. And it's also a relatively simple weapon to wield. Alright. Alright. More of the civilians here. The farmers. Whoop. Oh. And there's another sister. Oh, somebody broke out. Yep. Door broke open, so it gave us some cover. And we find a whip here. And of all farm tools to turn into a weapon, I suppose I shouldn't be surprised to find a... Oh, yeah, and there's blood loss being one of the pain in the ass status effects. Oh, she came down. Okay. Yeah, the sisters can be rough. They hit hard. Like, and that... Yep, that combo right there. Ow. Yep. Yeah, they can be very aggressive. And that builds up bleed. Oy. Their mace builds up bleed pretty easily. They're known as evangelists. Gloves of an evangelist sent from the cathedral. These teachers, all women, came to enlighten the inhabitants of the undead settlement and sent carriers on the path of sacrifice. Oh right, I put the bow on. That's why my roll went weird. Titanite shard. Yeah. So they were all women. More Titanite shards, excellent. And without the enemies around, this place sure gets kind of spooky quiet, doesn't it? But the undead settlement is largely boarded up. Alright. I believe this is where how you get up to where she was. Titanite shard, yep. They definitely want you to have as much materials as possible. Alright. And pushing ahead. Nothing else behind you, but you then get invaded by mad spirits. A unique signature you'll see. He's purple. A little different than what we've seen up to this point. It's normally only red or blue. Mound Makers, the Holy Knight Hodrick. Note that he's looking to use that skill. The advantage to trying to wait for him to use his skill on it, ow, is that he's not defending while he's doing so. Nice. Alright. Now he's used a buff that hurts him, but gives him an extra defense. Yep. Oh, now he's being a prick and putting down warmth, which heals you. He's mostly intending it for himself, but in this situation... Yep. Defending against... Alright. Ow. And we're probably dead here, but... Yep. But me. Hey, if he's gonna let me heal, I'm gonna heal. Alright. Yeah. I'm not too proud. Turning an enemy's strength against them. And remember, my swing is faster than his. Especially my one-handed. Oh, got me. And that's gonna hurt. Yep. Yep. And yeah, he's still got an Estus charge. I think he's got like one or two, a second one. Yep. Yep. He's hoping, he's relying more on the prospect of the bleed procking up on me. Alright. Yep. Go ahead. Go. What you gonna go for? Yep. 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 Oh, got me. Yeah, I keep falling for that parry, but... Yep. Alright. We just kind of dancing around each other. After all, Blue didn't become the first chosen undead for no reason. It's just a matter of a good warrior is still a good warrior, just... Yep, that second hit. Alright. Like I said, this broadsword could survive you the entire game if you do it right. Oh, damn it. It's almost like the AI is reading my inputs. Yeah, and that's why I don't go for the parry that often. Yeah. Yeah, the biggest problem is he's got a lot more stamina than me, so it's one of those... Yeah. Yep. Yeah. I'm probably dead after all this time, but that's still kind of... I'm impressed I lasted this long with no Estus to my name. Yep, finally. I'm sure everyone's just like, get on with it, just fucking die. I know. Yep. Hey, yay, more fire bombs. By the way, I've now locked the dogs out. I know, I know. It's shameful to die after all that time, but... But at the same breath, I wanted to at least try. And Holy Knight Hodrick is one of those early game enemies that just becomes a bit... is just kind of a pain just because of where he is and the amount of HP he has. He's not actually that strong. And he's actually linked to an easily missed secret. Alright. So for now... Nope, everyone's back. Nice thing is you don't have to engage that whole crew. And actually, you can take this path down here to avoid them entirely. But there's also this path that you might miss otherwise. That takes you... yeah. Like, it's real easy to miss that guy. Like I said, these four-fingered prongs are used to move hay. And this would be where that would be, because this is a stable. And interestingly, here's another thief to protect this area. This one armed with a big the flamberge. The same kind of thing Holy Knight Hodrick was using. Much easier, naturally. But still an option. And this way leads you to another part of the village. The Caduceus Round Shield. Oop. Yep. And this is the part of the problem with this area. Lots of snipers. Well, let's head back. Maybe there's some way we can see the snipers. And actually... time for secret passage. Like I said, this is easily missed areas. Yep. Ow. But yeah, 2 snipers there with blow darts. Yep. Fading souls. So, best to come up here. Get rid of one. And then another. Nice. And yeah. So this brought us over here. Another item. A plank shield. It's exactly what you think it is. Makeshift shield cobbled together from wooden planks. Provides minimal protection and at the cost of moderate humiliation. Yeah, it's crap all across the board. The caduceus round shield, on the other hand, is decent. Decorated with twin snakes, an ancient symbol of the Great Swamp. Wind shields are light and manageable and offer relatively high magic protection. The Great Swamp. Try friendship? Charmer head, therefore no attacking. Oh. It talks?
Another Nana disappeared. Sir Granton carries a cage. He ever has his cage. And Nana's never coming back. So come into the cage and become Nana's shade.
The hell?
Another Nana disappeared. And Nana's never. So come into the cage and become.
Alright. And become Nana's shade. Well, the hint is that the person they're talking about isn't very far away. Homeward Bone. The grandson carries a cage. Oh. A cage. Oh. Well, that's not good. Oh well. But go into the cage on his back? Okay. Dark Souls 3, above pretty much every other game in the series, has some very esoteric secrets. I guess that's the best way to put it. Many of them very easily missed. Oh. There's someone there. We're underground. Where there's cages, hundreds, dozens. And how many corpses? All piled up down here. Wait, you look familiar.
Well, what's up? This pit is for hollows, not for the likes of you sane folk. Or perhaps you are a hollow, posing as otherwise?
Yeah, we're hollow.
Yes, yes, then we are just fine. It's important to know who you are, but we'll all be mad soon enough. And should you be undead, well, all the more so.
Oh?
Beware, the shackles of the gods are fragile. You might need this. Etch it on your heart if you feel your sanity slipping.
Mound makers.
Come here to pile up your victims, for that will form your anchor. You'll see when you go mad. They'll be your family. You'll go mad. Take my advice. Use this bone and leave this place. This pit is for hollows, and for the occasional madman fond of piling up victims. You've better things to do, I'd hope. This pit is for you.
The War God Wooden Shield. Known that's another shield that allows you to use skills. Wooden shield reinforced with metal, the largest of the wooden medium shields. The bizarre pattern featured on the shield is the mark of the Mad God, revered as a god of war in remote regions. It's greatly similar to the shield the Lion Men had in Dark Souls 2. Wonder if there's a tie. Note that it is fairly decent defense overall and better stability, but it's also heavier. Oh no, it's fairly light for what it is. My mistake. The only problem is less than 100% physical resist, so I'll pass. And again, he offered us a new covenant. A malformed vertebrae found by the Mad with a queer symbol on the inside. Proof of the shackles of the gods. Equipped to pledge oneself to the Mound Maker's covenant. The Mound Makers wish only to add to their mounds, becoming mad spirits whether summoned as cooperators or invaders. They are blithe to those around them, and for in their minds any kill might lead to another shackle. The design on the inside. It's something similar, as if two gods, two hands touching. And yeah, that's how you get down to this. And he's not kidding. He gave you a homeward bone because there is no other way out of here. But so we can leave. And we'll head back to the shrine bonfire. Because I just want to make sure our sword is in a better position.
Ah, 'tis good to what needs me.
Alright. Infuse. And if I wanted to,
Pretty, I don't.
Okay, because if I did raw, would raw, it'd be like 20 points different. But if I remember, yeah. Yol is now here.
Oh, our champion of Ash, welcome home. This pilgrim, with a debt in death, hardly deserves to behold this divine flame, and I never would have, had you not taken me into your service. I thank you dearly for this, and assure you of my leal service.
He can learn to draw out our true strength.
Then shall we begin? Bearer of the dark sign, let your true strength shine.
No souls required, he gives us just a level up. And I think a greater strength, a greater bit of luck could always help.
As I have said, I was once a sorcerer. Alas, the magic of Londor is a far cry from the wonders of Vinheim, but I can teach you what I know. Perhaps, more importantly, I believe that I can help tease out your true strength. We pilgrims of Londor are keenly aware that those branded by the dark sign possess something quite special.
Indeed. And yeah, he does offer some spells. Basic elementary ones, but still welcome all the same. And we can learn Soul Arrow now.
Be safe.
Now we just need something to cast it with. Well, I believe the handmaiden had something to do with it.
How may I?
So, she had, I'm pretty sure, the casting implement. Yep, needs 500 for a sorcerer's staff. Let's see. There we go.
Ashen one.
Alright. So now, as, let's see, we can now attune Soul Arrow. After all, having a committed and useful bit of range damage could come in handy. As we saw during our first adventure, it was a power was nice, and strength in physical form, but that won't be enough this time, it feels. We're struggling as it is, so best to diversify and find new methods. But I think we'll leave this for next time. I want to thank you all for joining me. I have been the Ephemeral One, and this has been the beginning of Dark Souls 3. There's much to see, much more to do, and I hope you all join me. I'll see you next time on this, or maybe something else. Bye for now, folks. Bye for now.